I got a question for y'all. How many of you ever been to Orlando? Oh, that's a lot of people. And Disney World? Wow. How about Universal? How about SeaWorld? All right. I have an annual pass to SeaWorld. I have an annual pass to Disney, and I kind of go there from time to time. I live in Orlando. But there, in addition to the regular theme parks, we have a tour of the Jesus Film Project down there. So when you go down with your parents next time, we are a 12-minute drive from the airport, and you get to come to our studios if you want to come for a tour. They're about 45 minutes long, and it's free. And so either on just as soon as you're getting into town or when you're getting ready to leave town, come on over for a tour of the Jesus Film. We draw somebody up out of the audience, and we have them take on the voice role of one of the disciples, and we dub your voice into the film right on the spot and give you a DVD of your voice in that segment of the film. It's a really cool tour. You get to learn a lot about missions around the world, how the Jesus Film is being used. Any of you know what gospel the Jesus Film is based on? No. Get 3 more tries. Pardon? Luke, yeah, the Gospel of Luke. And the reason we use the Gospel of Luke to do the Jesus Film is because it's the most comprehensive account of the life of Jesus. It was filmed entirely in the country of Israel in over 200 locations there. There were about 500 scholars that researched the accuracy of the scriptures and what scripture that they would use. Anybody have any idea how many languages we have the Jesus Film in? 105. Okay. Any other guesses? How many? 50? Okay. I want everybody go up higher. Pardon? 1,100. Where'd you hear that? Oh, okay. Okay, great. Yeah, we're at 1,100 languages and dialects. This is the most translated film in the world, and it's the most broadly distributed in that it's been seen in every single nation around the globe. And we're going to, I notice you got La Buscara up there right now, but do you have the other, okay, great. We're going to watch a DVD that talks about the progression of the gospel in people's hearts. And it's going to start with the turn of the century. And when I say the turn of the century, I'm not talking about the 21st century. I'm talking about the 20th century and how the gospel has been progressing throughout the world. And it's called The Fullness of Time.
In the fullness of God's perfect timing, He sent His Son Jesus Christ into the world. And as Jesus walked the dusty roads of Galilee, He gave a small group of followers a commission. They were to tell His story to the world. Over the centuries, those who loved Him obeyed Him. They spread His story, whatever the cost. And by the year 1900, 1 person out of every 40 in the world was a practicing Christian, active in their faith. But still, less than 1/3 of the world's people groups had ever heard the name Jesus Christ, and less than 1/6 of the people groups had even a single verse of the Bible in their language. But since 1900, God has equipped and empowered the followers of Jesus Christ to spread the gospel as never before in history. As the world's population more than doubled between 1900 and 1980, the number of Christians grew even more rapidly. By 1980, 1 person out of every 17 in the world was a practicing Christian. And just in the last 30 years, God has increased the pace of world evangelism even more. Bible translation has accelerated as never before. Today, portions of the Bible are available in more than 2,500 of the world's languages. The availability of translated scriptures has made it possible for the Jesus Film to be dubbed into more than 1,100 languages. The majority of the world's mission force is now made up of non-Western missionaries, enabling the Jesus Film to reach previously unevangelized people groups. And today, 1 person out of every 8 is a practicing Christian. We live in a time like no other, in an era where no borders or barriers can stop the story of Jesus. We are members of the first generation in history to see the story of Jesus spread farther and faster than the entire previous 1900 years combined. What started with a tiny handful of followers 2,000 years ago has grown and impacted the entire world. And now the global stage has been set. Never before in the history of the world has the opportunity been this great. Never before has fulfilling the Great Commission been within easy reach. Today, we can tell the story of Jesus to every tribe, tongue, nation, and people. This is the hour and purpose for which we were born. The time is now.
The message of repentance and the forgiveness of sins must be preached to all nations.
Okay, in 1900, how many people claimed to be Christians? Can you remember? 1 out of every 40. What is it now? 1 out of 8. I mean, that's amazing. And that has been such a huge increase since 1980. Can you imagine what the next 10 years is going to look like? It's just awesome. Hey, I have a question for you. Do any of you have friends that do any of you speak a language other than English? What language do you speak in the front row? Chinese? Which Chinese? There's a lot of different Chinese. Mandarin. Okay. How about second row? Anybody? Spanish. Now, is that a second language for you? Okay, cool. You know a little bit of Spanish? Do you know how to say hello in Spanish? Hola. Perfect. Oh, you know a lot of words. You know a lot of words. Cool. So we've got Spanish, Mandarin. You're learning French. A little bit of Japanese and Taiwanese, which is, okay. Greek, you know some Greek. Okay, now let me ask you this. Do any of you have friends in school that speak a language other than English? Oh, wow. Name some. Uh-huh. And what's Brandon speak? You don't know, but another language, right? Okay, cool. Spanish. How many of you have friends that speak Spanish? Oh, wow. That is a lot. Okay. How about other languages? Arabian. So Arabic. Okay. Greek. Latin. Okay. Vietnamese. Russian. Wow. Korean. Purple. Yeah. Hindi. Now, anybody know where Hindi's from? What country? India. Do you know there's between 4 to 6 dialects in India? They've got more languages and dialects than any other country in the world. Any other languages I haven't heard? Pajari in India. Ujari? Okay. Wow, that's a lot. You know, we've got the Jesus Film in all those languages that you've mentioned. And I just want you to think about the possibility you can hand the Jesus Film to your friends in their heart language, in their mother tongue, so they can hear the scriptures in their heart language. You know, we had some people come for a tour of the Jesus Film. They were Wycliffe Bible translators, and they had translated the scriptures into the Y2 language for a particular people group, an indigenous people group in Colombia. And they had worked for 25 years with that people group and getting the language, the Y2 language translated. And I said, how did it go during those 25 years? I mean, did a lot of people come to Christ? They said, no, it was really slow. Hardly anybody was coming to Christ. And I said, well, what happened once the Jesus film premiered there among the Y2 people? They said, oh, they came to Christ in droves. And they said, I'm losing my voice. They said, we asked them, why did you wait so long to become a Christian? They said, because Jesus never spoke our language before. You know, there's something about hearing the gospel in your heart language, in your mother tongue, that makes a real connection. So you might consider introducing to some of your friends to the gospel through the Jesus film in their language. And you can go to jesusfilm.org and you can order it online in all the languages that we have. And in a lot of the languages that we have, you can play it. You can download it and play it and watch it for free. Mm-hmm. The question is, will the Jesus film ever come out in a movie, as a major movie, right? Well, 31 years ago, in late 1979, early 1980, it premiered in movie theaters across North America, across the United States. And after it premiered here, and it showed in 2,000 theaters across North America, but then after it premiered here, Warner Brothers released the film for us. Then we started translating it into the different languages of the world. You know, the Jesus film had a budget of about $6 million. It's not a very big budget for a movie. And it's filmed more as a docudrama. And it's a very accurate portrayal of the life of Jesus based on the Gospel of Luke. But we're now working on new formats of the Jesus film for what we're going to call emerging generations, for your generation. And we just finished the first chapter of the Jesus film. It's called My Last Day on Earth, in anime. Any of you familiar with anime, Japanese anime? Okay, some of you are. And what we're wanting to do is to have it broken down into chapters. And chances are we're going to release it on the internet. And that is one of the ways that we're going to reach future generations with the Jesus film. It's probably not going to premiere in a movie theater, but I think you could go to globalshortfilms.org or globalshortfilms.net. I'm not quite sure. And you can watch all our short films that we have for free. And you're going to see one of those here tonight. So there's different ways that we are working towards reaching your generation with the gospel that's different than the one that we're trying to reach my generation, a much older generation, say 31 years ago. But the third world countries, you know, where you have people like the Y2 people, or the people we're going to look up here on the screen in a few minutes, the Gamo people, they've never seen a movie before. Some of them have never seen a film at all, and then all of a sudden they're watching the Jesus film in their language, and they're hearing it from actors that are native speakers. They're using the native actors among their people group to see the Jesus film. In fact, think about it. If you've never seen a movie before, and then you see, say, the image of a man's head and shoulders on the screen. In fact, this has happened on more than one occasion. People are seeing Jesus being crucified on the cross in these third world countries. And men are shooting poison arrows through the screen and poison darts. They're trying to stop the soldiers from nailing Jesus to the cross because they think it's happening right then and there. One situation in southern Nigeria, they were watching the Jesus film, and they see Brian Deacon, the main actor on the screen, the guy that plays Jesus. And they see him holding a child in his arms and a head and shoulders shot. Everybody starts talking in the middle of the film. And the film team workers, they stop the film to find out, why is everybody talking? And they couldn't figure out how that actor was getting from place to place because all they could see is his head and shoulders. So they thought he didn't have any arms or legs. And they're going, look at that guy. Where's the rest of that guy's body? How's that guy get around? How's he feed himself? You know, and a man in the group says, he goes, well, I'm sure they put him in a sack. You know, they got to put this guy in a basket and carry him from village to village. That's how he gets around. You know, these are genuine challenges that people might have as they're exposed to the technology of film for the first time. Now, then you look at a country like China. Now, I think for a lot of years, Americans, we've looked at China as not being as advanced in technology as we are. Well, they've had VCD long before we ever had DVD. You can't put as much information on a VCD as you can a DVD, but they've had that technology for years. And they're watching the Jesus film on MP3 players on wristwatches. That's what they're doing in China. That's how advanced they are in their technology there. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go back to a third world type of a situation. It takes place in southern Ethiopia among the Gamo people. And by the way, this was a short-term mission trip with the Jesus film. Our ministry leaders in these different countries will ask us here in America, would you please come and help us accomplish this task? We don't have enough manpower to do this. So they asked some Americans to come and help them premiere the Jesus film among the Gamo people. And we're going to see, it's about a 7-minute video, and we're going to see the reaction of the Gamo people to the Jesus film, specifically to the crucifixion of Jesus. And if you think about it, these people have never seen a film in their own language before. And we're going to see the effects of the crucifixion of Jesus on these people. Okay, thank you.
Well, we went to a Jesus film briefing. That was our first encounter with, really with the Jesus film. But we were so impressed with the reports we heard of different ministries where Jesus film was being shown.
It hit both of us that we needed to fund a language.
And Ruth and I prayed about it, and this was one we picked out. And so we signed up for it and did it, and it's been almost 3 years now in the process of getting made and getting over here to show it. Well, Ruth and I were asked to be a part of starting the projector for the first showing of this Jesus film. Well, it was such an honor to be able to do that. Just to know that there's people here who have never heard of Jesus, and now they're going to get to see him and hear him talk in their own language. And that's the amazing part to me.
I
was just awestruck by the number of people that were present. Probably we would guesstimate about 4,500 people came to the premiere, and we were just blown away by the number. Certainly much more than I had ever anticipated.
I was surprised at the crowd. I looked around and saw the multitude of people. It was incredible.
For these people to see Jesus speak in their own Gamo tongue for the first time has got to be a great experience.
They responded because it was in their language, and they were so emotional about it, and it just touched up my heart as it did theirs.
Boy, seeing the Jesus film here in this country is just mind-blowing.
They were so focused, they hardly moved. Their eyes were just glued to the screen.
It just takes your breath away to see the emotion that the people feel but also the emotion that it brings out in my heart to see it for the first time in this environment.
I thought, you know, God is really speaking to them. They're not watching a movie. They're having an experience with Jesus Christ. He's speaking to their hearts, and they're responding.
They were just moved. You could hear them groaning when things would happen.
I just remember seeing some of the wailing and the children just sobbing and crying. And it just took my breath away. Just realizing what Jesus and the pain and the suffering that he did for us was just a little too much to bear.
And to see the response was truly unbelievable. To see that they wasted no time initially. Once the first gentleman stepped out, it's as though they all came.
We were excited to see so many come, and most of them young men. That was exciting.
That was encouraging. That was just beautiful.
As I was sitting there, I realized that God had just led us to this in such a beautiful way that what is more of a blessing than seeing people come to the Lord, you know? I cannot think of anything better.
I think our part was really small in the overall putting together this film. There's so much work behind the scenes by the local people that I felt the other people ought to be up here being honored for this. It just didn't seem right. But still, it was like, God, I can't believe we're here. You know, you're so good to let us do this.
It really humbled us. We're just one arm, one part of God's plan. And I'm so glad we were there when he told us to do that.
Isn't that awesome? What happened with the Gamo people that night? That was in February of 2007. Since then, there's been between 16 to 18,000 of the Gamo people that have accepted Christ already. And they're now planning to reach out to 17 people groups around them that are mostly of a Muslim background. I mean, it's pretty incredible the changes that are taking place among the Gamo people. Now, I just want you all to know, a couple of years ago, South Shore Baptist Church funded a language translation for the Jesus film. It's $38,000 for a language translation. It's a lot of money. And it's for the Bella people in North Africa. And we can't even tell you their real name. Their real name is not Bella. But they come, they're a Muslim people group. They're from an area that is heavily Muslim. It spans several countries, this people group. They're nomadic. They're wanderers. They're travelers. And if they were found to be becoming Christians, they'd be killed. Their lives would be in danger. And we have the script for the Jesus film completely translated. We're ready to go. But we're waiting on some of the barriers that are there. There are a lot of barriers that prevent us from getting the film recorded yet. One of it is the people are afraid to be involved in the recording because they're fearing for their lives. But once we get the Bella language recorded, they're kind of like a beachhead in the community, so to speak. And when I say beachhead, it would be the beginnings of Christianity in that area, in an area that's just surrounded by Muslims. It'd be a very strategic people group to be able to reach. And if we reach them, it could really open up the doors to that area of North Africa. And we really need you to be praying that God would break down the barriers to getting this language recorded. One of the things that's happened that's been really encouraging, there is a Christian relief organization. And when I say relief organization, they provide food for the people there in that region. And they've been providing food for the Bela people. And the Bela people have really taken notice of that. Because what they're finding is the fellow Muslims around them are killing them and persecuting them. And they're like, people of our own faith are persecuting us. Yet these Christians are helping us. So I just want you to think about praying for the Bela people, that God would break down those barriers to get the language recorded. And when you look at the numbers of the Gamo people coming to Christ, wouldn't that be wonderful to see that happen with the Bela people as well? So thanks for letting me come and share with you tonight. How many of you going to Orlando this year for vacation? Okay, there's one hand, two hands. I would love you to come visit us at the Jesus Film Tour. It's pretty cool. You get to see the technology of how we get the film into these different languages. We have several studios there, and you really get to get your head around how that works.
All right. Stay up. Yeah, so it's just an awesome ministry that she's a part of. So could we get like a couple volunteers to come up here and pray for her? Come on up. Yeah, come on. All right, so let's pray. So we're not done yet. We got one thing left. I think, is Merms ready? It's this one, this little can, all the way to the left, my left, which is your left. If I'm like this, yeah, that one. It says short, so, yeah, the one in time. But so this is going to be something different. This is actually another thing that the ministry that Wanda does actually produced, right? Yeah. And so it's a cool little short film, but you guys need to pay attention. This is what we're going to do for small group. Our discussion is going to be based on this, so make sure you watch. Ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, 60-second spot on time. Can I have a clock in the corner?
It's there.
Thank you. Roll them.
Rolling.
Action.
Okay, here's the deal. We all know that life is busy. There aren't enough hours in the day to do all the things that we want and need to do. In fact, you're probably thinking of all the things you need to do next week right now, wondering how you're going to squeeze it all in. But the fact is, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter how much is on your plate, we all have the same gift of 24 hours each day. It's 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. All the money in the world won't let you buy one single second more than the next guy. And once that second is gone, it's gone forever. Look, there goes one right now. Another one, gone. You'd think that we would judiciously use such a limited and valuable gift. You'd think that we would choose wisely how to spend. No, invest our time. But do we? Really? I mean, after taking the time for eating and sleeping and all the other basic necessities, do we really use this gift the way we should? Think of all the great things you could do in 24 hours, all the lives you could touch, all the significant changes that could be made in your life and others. The fact is, you could actually make a difference in this world in 24 hours, or not. So, how are you investing your time?
All right, so it's pretty cool. That's what our small group is going to be based on. We have questions. So one final thing. As you're leaving the sanctuary, wait, you're going to, yeah, I need 4 leaders to go back there and to pass out candy. Wait. Not any students. Leaders are moving right now. But what's going to happen is you're going to take one bag, and then we're going to see what we have left. So one bag to start, and then we'll see how much we have left. And so let's give it up for Wanda again.